a headhunting firm, loved it. As every recruiter says, they fall into it. No one actually says that's what they want to do when they go to school.
They say that about accountancy as well.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, so I fell into it and I loved it, and I just found it really, really interesting. Every day is different, everything you do is different. And so went back to uni and then got a job back with that firm when I left, and it was from there onwards. They were really good, I loved working for them, but it got to a point where it was just my aspirations sort of outweighed what they could give me, and I decided that I'd do it myself. I just felt that the rural market wasn't being exploited the most by the company I was working for, and I felt we could get more out of it. We've got a lot of connections, we were talking to a lot of people, and we just it sort of naturally happened. I actually set DM Recruitment up to be a permanent recruitment firm to begin with. Okay. And then some of our older clients were just sort of saying, can we help? And we said yes, and then that's how it sort of naturally led into a temp recruitment first.
Day one, I assume it was just you?
Yeah, day one it was me, yeah, as with every recruiter, you know, in your bedroom, as everyone says.
Did you actually start in your bedroom? I
had a home office, basically bedroom. I could be posh and say it was a home office, it was my bedroom. But yes, and then I started off doing that with a laptop and just a phone. As with every recruiter knows, that's all you really, really need. Yeah. And then started off from there, and within 3 months of doing that, I wanted to push myself, so I got an office in Shrewsbury, which is where we are now is head office. Yeah. And that's when we got into the temporary market, took our first person on within 6 months. And after that, every year has just been year-on-year growth, which has been brilliant. We got 12 people across 4 offices. We've just recently moved our Stafford office to Cannock, so we've now got 4 offices across the West Midlands. I've always used accountants to basically do the one-stop shop, that we don't have to worry about anything outside of just doing our jobs, because I'm a strong believer that you can't be good at everything, so focus on what you're good at and let someone else who's good at it focus on what they're good at. So we've always used accountants to do everything, so that's our full accounts, VAT, everything that would come along with what an accountant would do for you. We left our previous accountants mainly because all we were really getting was a basic service. We were just, and it suited our means when we were at a basic level. Yeah. It didn't really make too much difference. But then when we started to get bigger and we were still getting potentially painful points where the accountants we were using weren't able to advise or help, we had to then look elsewhere, which is obviously why we found yourselves. And since then it's been brilliant. We've been able to work with you guys. We can give you guys a call and ask for your advice on certain aspects of things moving forward from a business point of view, which has been massively beneficial to the growth of the business. So you guys introduced us to Xero. It gives us loads of instant real-time data on sort of sales versus profit and things of that nature. So it's really helpful, but it's also great that because we use it as well now, it means that the synergy between the reports that we get to what you get are a lot closer, whereas before when we were working with previous accountants, they obviously had the Xero function that was doing it, but we were still going off what we thought rather than what Xero was actually saying. So it meant there was a bit of confusion because there'd be odd invoices missed and things like that off Xero that we wouldn't know about, whereas now we do. Well, we've been doing a lot of work over the last year on making sure that we're focused and that we've got a clear strategy. So we've made sure that everyone is sort of singing off the same hymn sheet, and that is that we just, as I've mentioned before, we want to be the best. It's genuinely what we want to be, but we don't want to be the best as in the biggest, the largest, or whatever you want to go. We want people to say, we use DM Recruitment because they're the best. They give us what we want. Every time we work with them, they listen, they sort of focus on what's important to us. So that, because every client's different, as you've mentioned, we can't give a bespoke service if it was sort of just a generic service. We consider you a business partner rather than an accountancy firm, because you guys know the numbers that we guys put forward, so you're the best placed to say whether or not what we're planning can happen. So we often sit down, like we have meetings quite often where we ring you guys to sort of ask questions and get advice on things, and it's helped us massively, as I've said, that the business advice you give us and the mentoring you've been able to help us with has meant that we've become far more strategic in our approach to our accountancy as well.
What's the best piece of advice you've been given?
It's written on that board there. It was my dad that basically told me, just don't get distracted by everything else that's going on around you, and just play play the game that you're playing. Don't get distracted with what everyone else is shouting at you, and just focus on the task in hand. Because too often, especially in our industry, you can have 1,000,001 things going on, but they're not necessarily that important. It's just because everyone's shouting at you, you feel like you're really busy. So what we try to do is tell everyone just to focus on the task in hand and get that task done, box it off, and then move on to the next.
It's almost saying focus on the strategy.
Yeah, it's saying don't get distracted.
Focus on the bigger picture.
Yeah, and don't get distracted by the smaller things that you think are important at the time.
Any particular books you would recommend?
Oh, see, I don't like recommending books because everyone's different, but I'd probably say Good to Great.
Okay, yeah.
Which is actually on that bookshelf over there. That just basically focuses